Hello and welcome to the Albion Obsessed podcast. Again, it's been a while, but we are back to talk about lots and lots of Premier League action that we have missed. And my goodness me, does it not feel good to celebrate two wins in a row? Let's see who we've got on the show today. We have got Mr. Ian. Ian, sir, how are you doing today?
I am ever so well. It is great to be 6 points up from when we were last chatting. How are you?
Exactly, mate. Yes, I am very, very good. I've got a few stories to share today. I've already bored you all with the stories in the group chat, but yeah, I can't shut up about it. So someone's going to have to stop me. Maybe it'll be Andrew. Andrew, mate, how are you?
Not too bad, not too bad at all. Yeah, it's good to be back.
It's good to be back, and it's good to see smiles on faces as well. Goodness me, what a lovely feeling it is to win a game of football. And we are welcomed as well by our Spanish correspondent, Jordi. How are you doing, mate?
We are fantastic. Hoping the next matches, and that's all. For me, in my head, just missing these matches, it's like a new league. So that's all.
Exactly that. As I say, we've got so much to talk about, and we are, of course, live tonight as well. So if you want to get involved, please do drop your comments in the live chat as we go along. I will try and get to as many as you as possible, if not all of you. We've got Ryan out in the chat. Hello to you, my friend, and we've also got Michael. Evening to you. Yeah, 2 wins in a row, Michael. There's certainly been no doom or gloom tonight. That's for sure. Okay, let's talk about it then, I guess. We're going to forget, Ian, that the FA Cup exists because the FA Cup has given us horrific memories over the last 18 months. We don't want to talk about that. But we are going to talk about Brentford away. There's a couple of things I want to talk about beforehand, though. Let me just grab my notes. Is a little story that I shared with you guys. So I was lucky enough to be invited to a club event I think it was the start of the 125-year celebrations, and they did like a little Q&A with Glenn Murray, and none other than bloody Fabian Hertzler turned up as well, and apparently Fabian wasn't actually meant to be coming to the event, but he chose to because he wanted to face the music with the fans. So I actually massively respect that. But a really weird story, right? So me and my friend Emily, right, we're playing pool, and she goes to take a shot, and with the cue, she smacks someone in the back. It was none other than Fabian Hertzler, and then she just goes, "Do you want to play?" And then he played pool with us. So that was a weird experience. Even weirder, Glenn Murray joined in as well. So that was a very strange thing. So I am taking full responsibility for our upturn in form. They might as well just hire me now. But yeah, it was a really nice experience because for me it just humanized the man at the helm. I think as football fans we can get caught up in the negativity and the not thinking of them as human beings. He opened up that his 2 sisters have been receiving abuse just because their surname is Hertzler on social media, which I think is sickening. But this is a man who really wants to do well for this football club, and I think his determination to prove people wrong after the booing at the Crystal Palace game, I'm so happy for him that we've had 2 wins on the bounce now. I'm not saying he's the answer. I'm not saying everything's forgiven. I'm not saying that he is the greatest manager of all time now that I've met him. All I'm saying is that I think we are onto something special with him if we give him the patience. I think the thing for me as well is we gave patience to Graham Potter when we were going through tough times. So I think we need to give Fabian that patience as well. That's my little rant. before we get into all the proceedings. We've got Tom in the chat as well. Hello to you, Tom, and Joanna, as always. Hello to you. Ian, let's talk about Brentford then. Much was said about the starting 11 when it was released. 5 central midfielders. Matt Sweefer comes back in at right back. But obviously, hindsight is a great thing, right? We won the game. But what were your thoughts when you saw that lineup?
I mean, when we first put it out, I was like, okay, it's very heavy on experience, which doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. It was, apart from, I think, Jason Steele, all of our, in quotation, senior players were on the field. We got the win. We did really, really well in that. And to get 2 goals in the first half against Brentford, who are high and flying, really helped. And then the fact that we were able to just shut up shop in the second half and sort of really was not really give them anything of note to sort of build the momentum is very good. It was a very professional performance. And I think I said last time I was on, if we do win convincingly, you've got to let the praise be as loud as your criticisms. And I think Fabian epitomised that perfectly. He chose the squad. People were criticising it. And, 3 points later, 2 goals later, and a clean sheet later. It's not really much more you can ask from an afternoon. So
yeah, exactly that. Geordie, Ian's mentioned the experience there of the side against Brentford, and of course the side that started against Nottingham Forest as well. How important is it within a football club and a team to have experience to pull you out of really bad moments?
I think it's crucial. This is why these kind of players, for me, when we need to do a step to go further, they have been crucial. For example,
Your sound has gone, Geordie. We're just waiting for Geordie to improve his sound. Can you guys hear Geordie? Ian, can you hear him? No. Okay,
there we go. No, I muted myself. No, I can't hear anything.
Geordie, you might have to come in and join again. Oh, let me just sort the screen out. There we go. Just whilst we wait for Geordie to come back, Andrew, we'll touch on the experience again. Obviously, James Milner being in the side and it being his record-breaking appearance against Brentford as well. I know I'm jumping forward a little bit here, but Danny Welbeck spoke after the Forest game about how important James Milner is for this side. Again, just how important it is to have figures like this to pull you through a rough spot is really important, isn't it?
We've got some amazing people, amazing players in this dressing room, and they're all they're senior pros, and they the likes of James Milner and Danny Welbeck and others makes a massive difference to the younger crew, to the younger team members, and they learn and they take a lot out of it, and each day they're training, it shows. And and I think having the experience there for them to look up to as well, for them to look up to in the dressing room, and I'm sure there's no doubt that they are supporting them as much as they possibly can, like Fabian's doing. And it's just having that pure knowledge of the game and teaching them, where they go wrong on the pitch, what they do well, which is obviously all discussed behind the scenes. And and it's just nice to be able to have the senior pros on the pitch for the younger players to learn off. And Pascal, he's virtually trying to guide the team through each game. You can see that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like having coaches on the pitch. Geordie, I'm going to do a sound check with you now. Can you speak for me? Still can't hear you, mate. You might have to like fully come out and then come back in. There we go. Yeah, Ian, as I was trying to say to Geordie anyway, it's like having coaches on the pitch, isn't it? That experience, and I think someone in the comments said the spine was over 100 years old, so it's quite the experience to have. But are you worried at any point at all that Brighton are moving, like not moving away from, because there's clearly like young players that are coming in and doing well, but do you ever worry that is like not working as well as we want it to?
I think I would say it's slightly. I wouldn't say was worried in any way, because I feel like the personnel that are on the pitch that are considered our leaders, we've not just brought them in and all of a sudden, we're expecting them to be like the coach, if that makes sense. And I mean, you could look at Pascal Gross, and he has to come to terms with a few new players. Of course, he has, but he knows what it's like to play at this club and what the standards are. And he's seen the transition from us being just trying to fight to stay up to fighting for Europe. He's legitimately the one, aside from Dunk, I think, that's been there the whole time since we've been in the Prem. And it's important to have players like that. And we'll obviously touch on it a little bit later, but Pascal was doing the exact thing against Forest. He was congratulating players for small things. Even the likes of Solly yesterday, I think Veltman did that chest pass, and Solly was even doing it.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So it's just proves that I think at the minute, I'm going to say at the minute because football can change.
You can.
That we've got a good balance of youth on the pitch who are like not afraid to do things, if that makes sense, and risk something. But they've also got plenty of experience on the pitch to be like, let's not do anything stupid now. So I'm not too worried. Obviously, we will lose the likes of Milner and Welbeck and Gross soon, but under the arms, I'm sure they're putting players like Hinchelwood and stuff under their wings to sort of say like, it'll be you to step up when we finished. And I don't doubt that Hinchelwood won't be able to fulfill that. So I'm not too worried.
Exactly. That's good and to hear. Geordie, a lot's been said about obviously the bad run and everything that we've been having recently. Something that Fabian Hertzler said during the Q&A that I was at was controlling the controllable. And he spoke about, for example, you wouldn't say to Karim Matoma, you have to score 2 goals today, but you would say to Karim Matoma, you have to make 6 near post runs today, for example. How important is it for players to understand their role and not have that pressure sort of put on their shoulders before they've even crossed that white line?
It's crucial to perform all the actions despite the goal and the ending, because for a player, the most important is to have self-confidence on it and on him. And for example, Mitoma yesterday and the last days, we've seen a huge improvement versus previous injuries. So obviously, when you have a target that only depends on your effort, is crucial. And also, as you've been commenting, the players with experience, also we can add Dunk, we can add Beltman. When these players have done a huge step in front of everyone when the moment was needed, and yeah, good step up.
Yeah, exactly that. Andrew, a few people have said, well, there's been one comment from Phil saying Brentford were poor by their standards, and I don't think you can maybe argue that. But how much of the Brentford performance was us nullifying what Brentford would do so well?
I think for us, yeah, Brentford weren't at their best, but that still doesn't take away that we've actually gone there and we've beaten them, and they gave us a few scary moments, which we managed to deal with in a very, very good way. But I just think we needed to. You've still got to go into that game and you've still got to win it. You've still got to try and take those 3 points away from a Brentford side that have done incredibly well. So it's not just a case of turning up, playing the game. You're still battling a side that have done, incredibly well in the Premier League. And, for us to go up there and be able to get 3 points out of it, knowing that we've been on a very, very poor run, is an incredible thing to turn around and come away with. So and I think it just goes to show with the last performance we've just had. So taking all that into account, I think whatever's being said in the dressing room, which we don't always hear, is obviously working. And people have their doubts with Fabian, but to be perfectly honest, I think something's happening. You can see it. It may be taking some time, but I think we're on the right track. I think we've just got to try and keep playing well, scoring goals like we've done in the last couple of games, and just trying to see if we can keep it going. I've got full faith in Fabian. He's been under a lot of pressure, and and there's been managers that have been sacked from other clubs, and our board, our chairman have stood by him, and that is a lot of credit to them.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I think, as you say, there's so many teams that chop and change coaches all the time. I've always believed in consistency. I've definitely had my moments where I've thought that Fabian maybe wasn't the right man for the job. I've been so all over the place with my feelings towards him, but I think I still hold those core values in that consistency in the people at the helm is a very good thing. We've seen Arsenal building towards what they're trying to achieve, and of course, it looks as though they might bottle it again, but it looks as though they could possibly win the league this year. But it's because they've been building consistently with Arteta. Yeah. And people say about, oh well, he's not won a major honour, he's not done this, he's not done that. But if you remain patient, I know football is a massive results game. You want this season to be the season that you go on and, for us, achieve Europe, for Arsenal, go on to win the league. But if you believe in your plan and believe in that consistency, it will come eventually. But football is such a brutal sport that it's just be cutthroat. Let me just have a look at the comments then. Michael was saying it's brilliant for Jack to be playing alongside Pascal and Millie. Yeah, it's a huge thing for him to be learning from those two. Reinhardt is saying one of my neighbours is a Forest fan, so after the drubbing last season, thank goodness we've done the double over them this season. I can finally look him in the eye again. There you go. Joanna's saying that she could really hear James and Pascal coaching and shouting for the whole match yesterday. And is asking, do we think that having the same starting 11 this week, Ian, helped? For me, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But what about for you? Was you calm to see the same 11?
It definitely does help. Absolutely. Obviously, whether we can do it back to back with players like Gross and Milner begs another question. But it does really help, and I echo what the comments are saying of Jack being in a midfield alongside Gross and Milner is only a good thing for him, and you could really see it and hear it. I was watching it on the telly yesterday, and there was a stoppage of play. I can't remember what for, but Fabian, the camera panned to Fabian and Milner chatting, and you could see Fabian sort of going, explaining what he could see from his point of view at pitch side. And then you could almost see Milner kind of going, right, but yes, that, but then what about this? And there was that open interpretation, and it was really refreshing to see because so many managers are very stubborn and don't let the players play.
Yeah.
And I like using this word, but being proactive. And it's like the manager can only do so much looking at the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
You have to ask your senior players what is going on the pitch.
Yeah.
Because you see it from a whole new different angle. Even if you just look at the refs cam per se that we can now see, that looks completely different to how we'll see it on the telly.
100%.
And you go, oh, actually, no, that was a really good hit. So having Fabian speak to Milner and Milner sort of they were both coaching each other to a certain extent, was really refreshing. And I have no doubt that if we don't have the same starting 11, then I'm sure Milner and Gross, if they don't play, will be doing similar things and looking at from the side of the pitch and asking the likes of Welbeck or Dunk or whoever's on the pitch to give feedback and don't be afraid to say to Fabian, look, I don't think it's right to do this, or I'm per se FIFA. I think it was Forest at one point switched having Hudson-Odoi from the right to the left or something, or vice versa, and it completely changed how Forest attacked. But then we had to change how we attacked.
Yeah,
it was so refreshing to have just a clear idea that we aren't going to just hand you anything. We did have a few sloppy passes, but we will get onto those. It was just refreshing that both Brentford and Forest, yes, there was that seed of doubt that could we drop it? We still held on, and that just shows the sort of mentality and the professionalism that the likes of Milner and Gross are providing on the pitch and using.
I think that seed of doubt isn't just a Brighton problem though, as well. I think that's what a lot of fans fail to grasp sometimes, is that a lot of the problems we face are league-wide problems and issues that teams of our stature are going to suffer. Of course, we don't want them to become trends. We don't want them to, like it was with the late goals conceded last year. There's been a couple this year as well. I don't like that trend forming. But when you actually open it up to look at the wider picture, it doesn't happen to just us. I think the last thing I want to say about the Brentford game is that I think for me, it just truly proved that this team, despite all of the media noise that came before, this team is still fighting for Fabian Hurstler. He hasn't lost the dressing room, and that was clear for me to see. Look, the reactions after the game, the players hugging him, the players smiling with him. Of course, they're going to be happy after a win. I know that. I'm not stupid, but it didn't strike me as players that had lost the idea or lost faith in the man. Geordie, did you want to say something on the Brentford game?
No, I just wanted to add what you were explaining about if Fabian has lost the dressing room. No, I think this season the huge problem was it was one season that we didn't have no one ruling the midfield, but with a clear role. It has done Ayari, but it was not like a super-proof top elite player. And our main bet were Mitoma and Minte, and both of them get injured. So now, when we've recovered Milner, that was injured, then Gross, and now it seems like we are knowing how we want to play, then the best results Brighton has achieved. No, so this is why for me it's like I don't think it's because Husler was not doing a good job inside. It's like, for me, it's like a challenge. No, we are missing 10 games, and as much as points as we can get, then we will see if we can be prepared to be 7th or 8th or not. It would be a regular season.
Yeah, exactly that. And Jordy, I actually wanted to ask you about James Milner. Of course, before the game, he was awarded with the most appearances in the Premier League and was presented with a lovely shiny thing from the Premier League. And there was a big shirt in the middle of the pitch to celebrate that. Now in England, we like to watch the beautiful Spanish game, and we enjoy the ticky tacky not Premier League, La Liga midfield. You know,
Yeah.
Pedri. We've watched Modric and Cruz control midfields. We've watched Xavi, Iniesta. How is James Milner received in Spain?
If we talk about James Milner, my main word is professionalism. No, he is someone like keeps healthy, and he has been very intelligent to hear the coaches. No, it was like one story that Jurgen Klopp was explaining. No, like the day before, like the day after he was joining Brighton, then with some issues in the dressing room, it was like, wow, what is happening here? When it was James Milner, it didn't happen nothing like with fines or when they arrive late, whatever. And he has been very intelligent because when he started playing, he was like more like a winger, no? And now also he recycled himself to be left back or right back and then center midfield. So I think, I'm sorry, but being so clear, me as a coach, James Milner is the kind of player everyone wants to have in his dressing room. It's pretty clear. It's someone that keeps in good shape, that never has some news outside the pitch about nothing that it's not important. So come on, for me, it's well deserved that he and not a person that it's not. Someone to be an idol that has the record, no? So if you tell to your kids, come on, the mirror that you need to look at, it's James Milner, I think it's a very good example for everyone, and this is why I love that. And it's what we think in Spain. It's someone that it's loved by everyone, no? It's the same as Iniesta here, no? For me, it's a little bit the same feeling.
So you've heard it from Geordie first. Iniesta and James Milner are basically the same player. So don't at me, at Geordie. Let's have a look at the chat again. Phil saying, I would have liked to have seen a third goal, but I think for the most part we defended well and saw the result out. Not too many mistakes. Everyone seemed focused. Yeah, exactly right. And then we've got my dad in the chat. Hello to you. Joanna said, I think there seems to be more one-touch football. Is a style starting to come through, something we've seemed to have been missing for a while. We are going to talk about the Forest game now, and it's something that I wanted to talk about as well. So thank you for bringing that up, Joanna. I'm not sure it's necessarily our style. I think we've always tried to stay true to some kind of style. I know people find it hard to pinpoint Fabian Herzler's philosophy and how that comes across, like obviously on the pitch. I think it's just more of a confidence thing, to be honest. And confidence is a very hard thing to breed in football when you're in a rough patch. I think it only comes from wins. So to see us, playing fearless football and going a bit more direct, I was really happy to see that and see it work as well. Andrew, did you get the impression? I was saying the last thing about the Brentford game, but here I am talking about the Brentford game again. Did you get the impression at the Brentford game that maybe a little bit of weight had been lifted from that Diego Gomez goal, and that actually that confidence was back in the side?
I think once you get that first goal after going a long period of time without scoring, I think for Gomez, he's very much. You can see he loves playing his football, and getting those opportunities to be able to score like he's done in the last two games has been brilliant for him. And they've been well taken goals as well. They've not been tap-ins. They've been well taken goals, And I just feel that it's the confidence. I think is you can see it in the players after the game that the confidence is there. I think it's getting that belief back in them that they can go out show a good performance and win the game. They are so capable of doing it. And so many people have doubts. And so many people will say, well, you haven't really, you're not doing brilliantly and stuff like that. But then suddenly, after a rough patch, I'm not saying it's going to be, it may not be, we may have turned a corner. And I really hope we have, because I get very excited when we get a win out of it. And it becomes.
I know. I have to calm you down in the North Stand.
Yeah, exactly. It becomes incredibly exciting, especially when you see Gomez put the ball in again on another game, and you get Welbeck coming up with just his outstanding qualities. And yeah, it's just kind of, hopefully they can take it into a very, very looking forward to, but a very tough game to come in the next day or so. So
yeah, exactly that. Ian, the Forest game started insanely quickly. Diego Gomez again getting a goal, as Andrew said, that they're not tap-ins, and when Diego's presented with a tap-in, he seems to squander it a little bit. But he scores these wonder goals. I know Sells maybe should have done a bit better with the goal, but what was your take on the lightning start against Nottingham Forest?
It was one of them weird ones. When I first saw Diego's goal, I didn't quite comprehend with me straight away. I was like, wait, we scored. Hang on, what? But yeah, then the more you look at it back, you go, actually, what a strike that really is. I know people go, Sal's could have done, but he could have. You could argue, but the strike to get the accuracy and the power behind the shot itself is absolutely incredible, and that should be taking nothing away from how well that goal was. Like I say, I was literally just watching the game. All of a sudden, it was in the back of the net, and I was like, "Wait, what?" So what? I thought he'd miss-hit it, if anything, and then next thing I see the net bulge, and I was like, "Oh, okay." So it is refreshing to have Gomez back on form, and I agree with what Andrew's saying. You can see he loves his football, and I feel like there is a slight. Where else can he go at this point in terms of transfers? I don't really see him moving in the summertime.
Stop it.
I know. But it feels like he's here. He's happy to be here rather than just.
Well, I was sent a message from my friend who is from Paraguay, and he actually leaked the Diego Gomez transfer to me before it even went into mainstream. And he told me that all of the top 6 clubs are looking at Diego Gomez now. Of course they are. It starts to do well for Brighton. Take that with a pinch of salt, but he didn't send it from his source. He sent it from an outside source. So it was just a little bit of noise after a fantastic season so far from Diego. And I was going to wait until a little bit later to big him up. But I'm gonna big him up now. Now I don't know if Tom is still in the chat. I hope he still is, because before the game, and I'm sorry to call you out for this one, Tom, but before the game, he said to me that Diego Gomez, I know he's scoring goals, but I really don't rate him that much. And then he goes and scores an absolute ripper and puts in a fantastic performance. And the thing I love about Diego Gomez is he's got that South American flair about him at times, but he's also got that real determination and grit about him to fight for the team. And that hasn't been the case with a fair few of the recent South Americans we've had at the club. I'm not going to name names, Julio and Ciso. But I just absolutely adore his work rate, his ethics that he works towards. A massive team player. He could have come in with a huge head on his shoulders of, I've played with Lionel Messi, I'm the best thing since sliced bread, so and you're all gonna make the team around me. But he's just not that. He slots into wherever he's put, and he puts in a shift every single time. Yes, it doesn't work out 20% of the time. But my word, you cannot ask any more from a player to give 110% every time they pull on a shirt, and Diego Gomez does that. So, yeah, say what you like about him, but you can't fault his work rate. Geordie, the celebrations didn't last that long until Nottingham Forest decided that they were going to try and spoil our party. Bit of a deflection. What did you make of their goal?
Well, for me, the 3 goals were amazing, so nothing to comment. It was amazing from Morgan Gibbs White, and previously also had been amazing from Diego. And yeah, adding to your comments, and also with the chat, I was fully agree with Phil that Diego is someone that has the ability or has the power to shot from the distance, and possibly after Alexis McAllister, it's possibly the best shooting from distance that we have in midfield. So and something that I fully agree with you, Joe, is like the day that Diego Gomez is bad is like a 80-90% because always the defending work rate is not discussed. This is also why I also love this player. But yeah, Morgan Gibbs White was an amazing goal, and then so another time tied up. But yes, you could not ask nothing to Bart on these kind of goals.
Yeah, exactly that. But Andrew, the response didn't take long for Danny Welbeck to stay alive in the box and do what Danny Welbeck does best. I want to give a massive shout out to Jack Hinchelwood for the goal, by the way. A fantastic header to keep it alive. And I really like Hinchelwood in that, as you said, Ian, before we went live, that sort of number 10 role that he was operating in. He's so lively, and I'm sure he's an absolute pain in the ass to play against if you're a defender. But Danny Welbeck, I mean, if you give him an inch, he'll take a mile in the box, won't he?
He will, and that's what he's good at. He's a good all-round player, and you give him that opportunity. You know, it's a great downward header from Hinchelwood. Obviously, it's come over from the left-hand side as I'm looking at it, and I don't know who's put it across, but seeing Hinchelwood knock it down to Welbeck, he's got two players around him, and he still manages to take it down, swivel, and put it in the far corner. You know, he's got so much talent. He really, really has. He knows, you know, he's very down to earth as well, because he just in these little interviews he does, he kind of says, you know, I need to be in the right place at the right time. He says, if you know, I always say to the team, if you can get the ball into me, if I'm in the right place, I can do something with it. He says, but I have to be, you know, and everybody seems to know where everybody is as well, which is quite something, especially when you got a penalty area as compact as it was, and yet you can turn and swivel and you can place it into the back of the net beyond the keeper, and you know, the rest is history, really, isn't it? To be perfectly honest, you know.
Exactly. What you're saying, Andrew, is get him on the plane. 2026. He's going to America. He's going to Canada. He's going to Mexico. Get him on the plane.
He's definitely worth a space, that's for sure. You know, I think he could do really, really well. To be honest, I think he could certainly put a performance in. You never know, might even score a few goals, but that's not down to us to decide. That's down to the England manager.
Yeah. Ian, have you got Thomas Tuchel's number at all?
I can't say I have, but I did actually speak to one of my friends, and I said,
"Oh, Thomas Tuchel."
Yeah. One slightly unpopular opinion is I'd rather have Welbeck on the plane than probably Watkins this year, which I know seems crazy because like you put like a like for like, they're very different. But I would rather.
I agree with that one, Ian.
No, because I'm thinking like. With Kane, right? Like his greatest thing is he can do the link-up play and he gets the whole team sort of flowing at times. I'm sorry, Jordy, because you'll probably be talking about Spanish players, but
we're not going to talk Geordie about Spanish finals.
But like Kane offers that brilliant sort of link-up play, and I feel like Welbeck has the certain level that he can as well. Whereas if that kind of then gives Welbeck or Kane he doesn't have to play all the time for us to continue in that way. And I'm as I say, I'm not saying that that Welbeck is a better player than Watkins, but I'm saying if you're going to have a striker to back up,
I think there's space for both of them. I think.
But then you could also say like Gordon you could use Gordon as a winger, play up front, and then you've got the pace already. So then
this is a podcast.
But it's a very different thing. But no, I'm happy to see Welbeck.
But yeah, I would adore to see him. But Geordie, the reason I said we're not going to talk about international football with you is because of the previous final, England versus Spain, and I don't want to relive the pain that Spain caused me. But that's for another week. I mean, yeah, it was an action-packed first half, though, wasn't it, Geordie, against Nottingham Forest? We could have probably scored more than the two that we did. Was you a bit gutted that we didn't have sort of 3 or 4 on the board before half time?
Yeah, but come on, it's Premier League. It's difficult to get it. And we played so well. I remember the 1-against-1 from Mitoma and Welbeck, this 1-2 that they played amazing. And then he shot and the keeper saved it, but it was amazing. Also, I remember trying to kick or doing a headshot from also another player. So it was very difficult from Hinchelwood trying, but the most important for me, despite the goals, the image of the game, and I value a lot, is like when at minute close to 90, 80, between 88 and 92, the action of Van Heck saving that ball inside the area, for me, demonstrates fully that why we were with the coach. And the image on my brain was playing against Everton, the huge error from Baleva, missing few minutes that cost us 1 point. Don't do these kind of errors. And despite this, across Brighton understand this lesson and improve that. So when a team do a step forward, for me it's crucial. So huge credit to the team because they did it an amazing job.
Yeah, exactly that. Now I don't want to big you up too much, Geordie, but does anyone else just love listening to Geordie and the Spanish accent talk about football? I think it just makes everything just sound that much more sparkly. So yeah, thank you for that, Geordie. Ian, we really had to defend at the end there, didn't we? My goodness me. And we weathered the storm really well. As Geordie says, we're a team that do learn our harsh lessons very quickly, I feel. And that is something over the whole Fabian Hurtzler time. It's something I've always been really sort of complimentary of. But yeah, let's talk about that final few minutes. Were you getting a bit worried?
I don't do nervous, but I'll start getting a little bit shaky. No, it was definitely, how do you word it? Squeaky bum time. It was definitely one of those moments. But again, I think the way we defended throughout the match kind of gave me that little bit more confidence that, we definitely have got the chance to hang on here and making some good substitutions, like when Vifa was on the yellow and he was getting done in a bit more on. You could go, right, we need Veltman. We need Veltman now. I don't mind the fact that Veltman didn't play as much as what some others would, because at the end of the day, Vifa does need to get his minutes back up. and it's important for the squad rotation. So when Veltman did come on, it was very reassuring. And then the fact that he had the composure just to do that sort of like chest back to Verbruggen, and then he had the audacity to just go calm down to the Forest fans, made it even better for me. Because I was just like,
not Joel Veltman shithouse in somebody, surely.
Listen, he's the GOAT. So, you know, you're not gonna have to worry about me trying to find love.
Although talking about GOAT behavior, and I hate to bring it on to Inter Miami whilst we're in a Brighton podcast, but I don't know if anyone saw Lionel Messi shithousing the Orlando City bench yesterday. It was absolutely marked. He scored a brace, and then he asked them. He asked the Orlando City bench if they wanted an autograph. Just absolutely incredible. Andrew, I don't know about you, but in the North Stand, when the team are attacking the South Stand, and you can't see anything that's going on, but all of a sudden you see Bart Verbruggen's arms just come up and claim the ball. It's the best sight in the world, isn't it?
It's very reassuring, considering though you're absolutely right. You know, you're a little bit higher than me in the stand, only by a couple of rows. But yeah, as I'm kind of pitch level, you can't see a great deal. Kind of, you can just see a melee of players, and then suddenly Bart comes out of nowhere and just takes it as calmly as he can, and just reassures everybody that it's in safe hands, and that's what he does. And especially in those times when you need him the most, just to take the pressure off the defense, and just, you know, even for him, actually making sure that ball is safe and it's in his hands must be a really, really good feeling for him as well. And you know, especially when you've got the Forest fans behind you as well, and it's a bit I'm just kind of, it does put you on the edge when we are kicking towards the away fans, and then of course, you know, second half comes along where they're kicking towards the north, and you know, the atmosphere just goes up a notch, because it's just, you know, you can see how the team are playing right in front of you. You are literally on the edge of your seats, trying.
And weirdly, you suddenly feel in control slightly. That you like, if you get a little bit louder, you can pull that ball into the net.
Yeah. I think they do love playing up towards the North Stand as well, because that's obviously, you know, where a lot of the noise comes from. And then, because obviously it seems to be
East Stand.
Say again, sorry.
I said we're looking at you, West Stand and East Stand. Sing up a bit.
You know, no. To be fair to the rest of the ground, they do actually. You know, we're actually kind of, you know, they do get involved. But yeah, I think that's why they call us the noisy lot.
Exactly, the rabble, the hooligans, especially Andrew in row A, seat whatever he is. I'm going to make sure the stewards come and sort you out the next game, mate, because you're getting a bit too wild down there.
You should have seen him at Oxford service stations when he did Villa away. He was a right rowdy one then.
Don't expose him live on air. Come on now. I mean, yeah, it's just such a good feeling to be celebrating 2 wins in a row. And yeah, just it's good to see the smiles back and good to see the noise.
I think also, Joe, I think I had that lovely opportunity after the Brentford game to actually see Fabian, kind of, because he came up and kind of signed a load of autographs and a few photos and stuff like that, and just, you know, people just congratulating him on the win and stuff. And he was quite down to earth and just saying, you know, thank you for your support and for being here and stuff. And, you know, and then obviously the Mitoma fans, well, they weren't giving up either, because they actually got him off the coach at the back and he was signing autographs and stuff. And, you know, obviously managed to get a photo with him as well. And, you know, it brought that good vibe back. And and we've gone on to make it 2, you know, like you say, 2 wins on the bounce. And now we need to kind of get ready for the next installment.
Yeah, something I'm going to talk about in just a moment. So thank you for bringing that one up, Andrew. Let's have a look at some of the comments. Phil says Bart, the most improved player this season. Yeah, I would certainly agree with that. It was made known to us that he had surgery in pre-season, and is now playing pain-free, and I think that shows that he's playing pain-free, and I just love to see him come on leaps and bounds. I'm obviously worried when a Brighton player does well that another team are going to come knocking, but let's remain calm. He's our number one for now. Reinelt saying, going back to midfield, when fit does a Yari get back into the side? I mean, as I said at the start of the show, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And I know, as you say, and James Milner and Pascal Gross aren't going to be able to play game after game after game. But if they can play, I think they need to play. But yeah, I mean, Yasin Iari, again, maybe even in for a shout for most improved player this season. I think when he has played, it has been excellent. So I wouldn't be devastated to see him come back into the side, but just for the stability, I would like for it to remain as it is for now. Geordie, next test. Arsenal at home on Wednesday. Pressure off us. Massive pressure on them.
No pressure for us. To save the relegation, I think we need 3 points, something like this, not much more. So for me is do our best, we will get it. And then if we get it, come on, we don't have nothing compulsory, but we still have the dream to be as high as we can, no? For me, it's super clear. It's missing 10 games, and on these 10 games, if we get 21 points is what we can get it. They are risking the league, so I think we need to play mentally with them. Would be crucial, and yes, come on, the pressure is for them. So but uh, in our homework, it's very important the dead balls because this team it's so good on that.
Yeah, much is said, Ian, about their set pieces. We spoke about their set pieces before we came on air, didn't we? But I mean, it's going to be a tough test. But do you think that the players are going to relish this opportunity to upset the title race?
I think our mentality, it's literally a free hit for us. We're not expected to get anything from the game, and I think we should have the mentality to get everything from the game, if that makes sense. There's no harm in trying it. I'll probably bring in someone like, as much as I've loved Hinch, if Hinch doesn't play, I'd want to see a Georgie in that sort of 10 role, just because he's that tenacious and he will suit the sort of tenacity that Arsenal centre backs don't really get, and it can help us because Arsenal are playing with 12 people. I know your audio did not just cut out. I called them Arsenal. Yeah, I think that we need as much togetherness, if you want to use that word again, as possible. And
Oh, careful with that word, mate. Not round here.
Whether or not it's that we name an unchanged 11 again, or it's very little changes, or whatever, we need to have that. Whoever does come in has to have that next man up mentality.
Yeah.
Which is, who was it that said about the Ayari coming back into the squad?
It was Rhino.
Which is why I sort of shook my head when we touched upon it. And it's not because I don't believe in him or say he's not good enough, but I think we need to show that he's got to work for it. He can't just come back into the side, and Milner and Gross haven't done really anything wrong. So to bring him back in would be unfair on all three of them. It wouldn't be fair on Gross, it wouldn't be unfair on Milner, it wouldn't be fair on Yari and stuff like that. So I think it's a free hit, and we just got to treat it like it sounds bad, almost like it is a cup final, but with the pressure of it's a friendly.
Yeah,
Um,
we've got some time after the game as well.
yeah, 10
you know,
days or something.
yeah, solid 10 days between Arsenal and Sunderland because of some weird cup competition that I've never heard of anyway. We don't need to talk about that, do we? But I'm glad you mentioned Jorginho Rutter because there is a moment that I would love to talk about very, very quickly. And it's been shared on social media like you would not believe. But Jorginho Rutter decides that he's going to warm up to hopefully come onto the pitch. The North Stand notice he's dyed his hair. And what a stark difference from us 3 weeks ago. Not me, but some people chanting sacked in the morning. And this week chanting, he's dyed his hair, he's dyed his hair. And the reaction from Jorginho Rutter was, I just love the man. If a smile could light the whole universe, it would be his. So yeah, hopefully he can improve this season. I think he would be honest enough to say that his season this year hasn't been anywhere near the levels he would expect. But he was one of the players brave enough to face the North Stand after the Palace game. And he's a very down-to-earth guy. So hopefully we can see a few more Georgie celebrations towards the end of the season. And the last segment before we go on to our player of the match from Nottingham Forest, I want to give the biggest shout-out to none other than our number 7, Solly Bloody March. I feel like he deserves exactly, Andrew. Round of applause. Hope everybody's clapping at home as well. Respect the man. Just an incredible journey. It's probably such a hard, lonely journey back to getting on the pitch again. Of course, yeah, he came back last year and he scored the goal against Norwich, and that was a fantastic moment. And he disappeared again. And yeah, I'm just so thankful that he's still pulling on that shirt and having the opportunity to come back and give to this football club that he so loves. So a big congratulations to Solly March for being strong enough to overcome so many injury problems and still have the opportunity to play a Premier League game. So there you go. Yeah. Solly March, for me, wins the honorary Man of the Match award. But Geordie, who wins your Man of the Match award for the Forest game?
Me, I'm clear. James Milner.
Love it. Short and sweet. Andrew, who wins your Man of the Match for the game against Forest?
Well, you've already taken March away from me, so
that you can't say yourself, Andrew.
Did I say just a little bit on March? We've got a couple of minutes, or a moment or so. Look, he's come back from a massive injury, and everybody, all the press and everything else, we're asking about him on a daily basis in the press conferences. Great to see him on the bench. Great to see him come on. As I don't really think he had too much time on the ball, but that will only improve as time goes on. And it's just great to have our local lad back, and hopefully he can now stay fit, he can stay healthy, and he can now get on with his football and do what he does best and support the team on the pitch as well as he does off the pitch. I think I'm going to go with Gomez. I think considering he's had a bit of a tough time and he scored 2 brilliant goals in 2 separate games, I'm going to go for Gomez because he played well. They all played well, but, you've got to give it to someone. There's probably other ones that you could give it to, but yeah.
I absolutely love that shout. And I don't know if I've said it enough on this podcast, but I bloody love Diego Gomez. I'll stop talking about it now. Ian, who is your Man of the Match, my friend?
I've heard every single one of your shouts so far, and I don't think you could argue with any of them. The Helsham hero in Solly. Can't go wrong with the longevity and the absolute lad that Milner is, and Diego Gomez, as we can call him at the minute. He's also good. I'm gonna give it to maybe someone who did technically get a contribution, but I don't think necessarily saw the headlines. Jack Hinchelwood. I thought he was absolutely fantastic yesterday. He was everywhere. He was linking play up. He was very good on the transition.
Mhm.
He wasn't afraid to He wasn't afraid to just be himself and do what he needed to do to win the game, and he really stood out for me, especially that he's not normally in a attacking role with us. I know he likes to attack, but he doesn't normally get the free rein for the 90 minutes to do so. And I thought he took it in his stride. So I'm going to go for Jack Hinchelwood, and I know he's going to be watching because
I
he's a massive
absolutely
Albion
love
fan.
that. So, oh, Geordie's being covered by Diego Gomez. That's a better view. No, I'm joking. There's Geordie. There he is. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I can disagree with any of your shouts. I know I gave the honorary mention to Solly March, but gosh, if I had to choose someone now, I don't want to copy anyone, but
it's tough when everyone does actually play well, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. What a weird thing to think about, that we can actually play well. I think I have to agree with you, Geordie. James Milner. Just the longevity, as we've spoken about, the just the aura of the man. And I know he's spoken about as like the most boring person in the world, but I was watching him warm up yesterday. And I was thinking, goodness me, we've got the record-holding appearances like player in our squad at Brighton, and it just blew my mind. So yeah, James Milner for me. Let's see who the chat are saying right now. I don't know if you're having a shout for Solly March as man of the match as well, or you're just singing his song. But either way, that's great. Michael,
You're welcome.
exactly.
Sorry, March.
Thank you.
Let's just all sing for the end of the show.
Geordie,
Michael is saying Solly March on the 1st of March was perfect. Yeah, exactly that. Doom is saying Diego Gomez again. Diego Gomez mentioned is statistically the hardest working midfielder in the league. I did not know that. And Phil is saying that he misses Buzz's boot room quiz, and Dignity, I think, is giving Lewis Dunk a shout for man of the match. So yeah, I don't. As you say, just give them all man of the match. Give it to Fabian Hertzler for all I care. Why not? But yeah, what an amazing few weeks for Brighton Hove Albion. What an amazing thing to celebrate 2 wins on the bounce. Thank goodness for that. And as you said, Andrew, earlier in the show, hopefully that means we have now turned the corner and can start looking up the league towards those glorious hello Vicky, those glorious European places. So I guess that brings us to the end of the show. I would do a prediction for Arsenal, but I can't bring myself to think about another game just yet. I want to keep living on the high for now before we're brought back down to earth by the league leaders, no doubt. Geordie's got his fighting talk ready. He's like, no, we're going to beat Arsenal.
Geordie, would you rather see Guardiola or Teta win the league? Because they're both Spanish, so.
What?
Would you rather see Guardiola or Arteta win the league? Because they're both Spanish managers, so it's not
but well, you know my opinion that I would like that Brighton, and against Brighton win the league. When that's not possible, obviously I would like that Arsenal win the league, but I hope that they will lose final next 0. Yeah, I hope they are going to lose clearly against us on 2 days.
Let's hope so. Doom is asking, where's Dagan? I'm asking myself the same question, Doom. Where is Dagan? I know, absolutely bottled it. Let's actually send out a search party for Dagan. If everybody could put in the chat hashtag where's Dagan, maybe he might appear one day soon.
Whilst it's in my head,
yeah,
I know a lot of people sort of after these past few weeks have sort of touched upon and how nice Fabian seems and that he cares, etc., etc. From what I can understand, he's been like that since day one, like his very first press conference. apparently afterwards from someone that was there, shall we just say, he went round and shook every single reporter / journalist, whatever we'd like to call them, and gave them all a minute or two of his time to say thank you and blah blah blah. So I think that just shows from the second one that he's been at this club, he's not back in a way that it's not a challenge. He's not going to sit there and say it's easy. But I think it reiterates as much now that we're doing well. So let's really get behind him and make a connection that we did have with a previous manager, shall we say. Let's make that unity again, because he deserves it. He's shown that the adversity's happened, and he's shown that he's not going to back down. And we need to give him love for that, and we need to make him sing his praises like we sing for players,
Yeah, that's a very good point, Ian. Very well made. And yeah, I mean, I always stick by the fact that no matter how you feel about people, no matter what your feelings are, if you back the boys, you won't go far wrong. So let's just continue to do that, no matter how you feel about the manager, and we'll see where we end up. I would love it. I would love it if we beat them. Sorry, I would love it if we get European football this year against all the odds. Sorry, Andrew, go on.
No, just want to say one thing. It would be a magical situation if the Amex could be full for this one particular game.
On Wednesday night.
On a Wednesday night, everybody needs to get down there to be able to get behind this team, because who knows, a miracle could happen and something could really, really go wrong for Arsenal.
I would love it. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. We've seen these incredible games at the Amex before, and I've got no doubt the Amex has got something left in it to cause that upset again. And what Ian was trying to say after his Fabian Hertzler loving was, we are going to beat Arsenal 4-0. So you heard it here first.
I just let you want to say that just to clip it,
Exactly. And when we do beat Arsenal 4-0, come back to this and clip it. Thank you very much. I mean, it's been a great fun show. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Thank you to the chat for being so lively. You've been amazing to chat along with us. A big thank you to Ian. A big thank you to Geordie from all the way from sunny Barcelona. And thank you to Andrew all the way from sunny Worthing. You in Worthing, Andrew? Where are you at the moment?
No, I'm actually in Shoreham, to be honest. I'm in Shoreham.
Fair enough.
So, yeah.
There you go. Shoreham's better than Barcelona.
That's what they said.
Exactly. But yeah. Thank you, Ryan, for saying thank you to me. I never get thank yous.
Big up, Joe.
That. Yeah, big up me.
Thank you, Joe.
No worries, Jordy. Thank you. Okay, so I guess that just remains for me to say, wherever you may be, whenever you may be, we will see you after we beat Arsenal 4-0. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Up the Albion.